do it casually talk now.
Yeah.
How did you start in Boredom Barbecue? What was the idea story?
So we started back in 2022 in September. After I finished my course in Australia, I came back over here. I finished working in restaurants over there. I wanted to bring that culture over here. I wanted to bring that kind of cooking over here. I wanted to bring the meat cooking that specifically was missing in the Mumbai food scene. That's how I sort of came about, building Border Bean Barbecue. We had this smoker that I had to sort of build from scratch as well. So that was one of my major inspirations in terms of, uh, bringing this brand, building it, and seeing it where it is today. Because it's been a very long journey. It's been 5 years since we have been in Mumbai, and it's been a great journey. For me as an entrepreneur, and the people who've sort of visited us from the beginning, they've sort of seen us grow. So from a 15-seater restaurant, we are at 50 seats at the moment, which sort of says a lot. And I've gone through the journey, and I'd like to sort of tell people, and I would sort of like to educate them about the process that I've gone through, because it's really important as students that people get to sort of see the side of the industry, because people are so into hotels at the beginning. They want to sort of work there, and they think it's their only sort of career option. But then the restaurants have a lot to offer, and in terms of culture and to grow as an entrepreneur, I think working in restaurants is a lot more friendly and helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why Boredom Barbecue? Why not any other name?
So Border Bean Barbecue, because we're sort of doing cuisines across borders. We're not sticking to a particular cuisine, and bean sort of symbolizes the amount of vegetarian options that we're doing over here. So given everything, given our concept, there's lots of vegetarians in India that need to be sort of pleased as well. So that sort of gap at a barbecue restaurant, we wanted to sort of bridge that. So we put it in our name, and barbecue, because we sort of staying true to our name. We have a lot of charred, smoked elements that sort of are running through all our dishes in the menu, and we sort of try and sort of stay true to the name, and that's why we're calling it Border Bean Barbecue.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. So what in your journey, what were the biggest challenges? As you mentioned, you have to build your own smoker.
Yeah.
Then what other challenges did you face? Find the place or calling out people, matching their taste palette? What was it?
Finding the place is the biggest headache. I mean, it's so problematic sometimes, because especially for a person like me who's obviously very new to the Mumbai food scene, I have not worked at restaurants in Mumbai. It was extremely difficult for me to sort of come to a conclusion and decide where to open. Obviously, I sort of heard about Bandra and people from all walks of life sort of coming there to dine. So it was sort of a no-brainer in those terms. But then to find a small niche spot which was welcoming enough, it was easier for people to get to and to travel. It was a big journey that we had to sort of go through. And then we locked on this place in Reclamation, which was nice, quiet lane. It used to be sort of booming pre-lockdown, and it has sort of died down. So we decided to sort of put all our hopes and dreams over there, and then we started off over there.
Okay. Any other challenges that is faced as day-to-day operations?
Yeah, so once we sort of set up the place, obviously sort of hiring staff is always a big problem. What happens is people, even students, as a matter of fact, they want to work at good restaurants. They want to work with big names at big hotels. So with smaller restaurants, what happens is you're not able to get that kind of attention even from students or regular staff that are well trained. So getting staff on board is a major challenge. And then when you get them on board, what happens is you're getting regular guys who sort of not worked in kitchens at all. So grooming them into being chefs is very difficult. And the problem is only they understand the story behind what's going on over there. And if you want to sort of hire staff, that's the kind of the people that you're looking for, who want to be trained, and only those people sort of stick by you in the longer run.
Okay. So I wanted to understand, is there any big challenge that happened and how did you overcome that challenge? What is that story?
So the biggest problem that had happened back in Reclamation was uh, the frontage of the shop, it was completely demolished. So it was such a big setback for us at the beginning, and because we sort of spent so much time and effort to build that place and see it broken in front of us. So we had to sort of rebuild from scratch over there again. Obviously, the investment is a very big issue. It's a completely self-funded project, my one, and just to sort of stand behind it and create it back again, is just something that is a very big learning. And from what I realized is it happens a lot. There's a lot of these problems that come to new founders, new people who are sort of trying to set their place up, because it's a big learning curve, just to sort of understand how to deal with authorities and government issues. So that's something that you learn along while setting up the place. Yeah.
Of it, this is the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Government and the legality.
Yeah. 100%.
Agencies. So about the identity now, as you mentioned, as the name suggests, it's a barbecue place. But what makes your brand different from others in the city?
So cuisine is definitely one of them. The other thing is the hospitality. How we're making this place so casual. We're greeting people as we would at if you're receiving any guests at home. So it just sort of makes it a very hospitable place, And I'm here literally every day, in and out, greeting guests, talking to them about their likes, dislikes. So we're sort of building relationships over here.
Okay, I'll pause it here.
Yeah.
We were going off the topic.
Yeah.
So as the question makes, what makes a brand different from others in the city? You answer me in a way. Okay, what do we have in the menu? It's barbecue, right? So what's something that you give to people but no other brand gives?
Yeah.
Is there something?
Yeah, there is. So the smoked meats are one of them. So yeah,
No one serves in Mumbai.
the brisket nobody else is serving in Mumbai. Yeah,
Okay, perfect. Okay.
the brisket. Then in terms of cocktails as well, the soju cocktails that we're doing at the moment.
Thing that you have made any your own recipes?
All the recipes are mine only because we've had to sort of improvise. So in terms of originality, it's an adapted concept. So
This is what makes your brand different from others.
yeah.
So this could be the answer. Okay. So what makes your brand different from others in the city?
So originally the concept is an adapted concept. It is American barbecue that we are staying true to. Obviously, sort of working with the meats over here makes it different by itself, because the original American barbecue is done with beef, and we have had to work with water buffalo over here. The brisket that we do, nobody else is doing in Mumbai, because there's a lot of people who are doing pastrami, but then the low and slow cooked brisket that we do is something that really stands out. And in terms of our meats, in terms of pork that we cook over here as well, we've got this really good maple honey glaze that we do. It's something that we have sort of created. So obviously it's adapted from the American barbecue. It's based off a barbecue sauce, but then that the flavor that we've created with it, it just sort of sticks with people and they want to have more and more of it. It's really good.
Okay, awesome. So now the question is how we do so much specific theme and menu. What gap were you trying to fill in the market? As we had the start,
Yeah.
you mentioned about the tandoor.
Yeah.
So you could speak of the tandoor as a mainstream cuisine in India.
Yeah.
How every restaurant is serving that. But you have curated this new. Why saw this gap of barbecue? What do we call smoked bakes? Like what is the process? If that is tandoor, then what is this called?
So this is American barbecue. That's Indian barbecue. Yeah. So it's bridging the gap. It's sort of educating people, telling them more about what American barbecue is all about, how it's different from an Indian barbecue, or how it's different from, there's different concepts with barbecue. There's grilling, there is smoking, there's roasting. All of it falls under the category barbecue. How we are standing different is we're doing American barbecue, which is cooked low and slow, because things cooked in a tandoor won't take more than 5, 10, 20, half an hour max. They won't take that long, and how we are cooking our meats, it takes hours. It takes 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. It's low and slow, and it's cooked at a very slow temperature compared to tandoor, which is cooked at a very high temperature of 250 degrees, 300 degrees. We're cooking it at 120 degrees. So it's literally less than half. So yeah, for a very long time, that's how we sort of break down the protein, That's how we get to sort of cook the secondary cuts like a brisket and make it so tender and juicy.
Okay. So, like, how would you decide on the specific theme I'm abandoning? Like, what was the gap you saw in the market?
So obviously, educating the Indian palate is a very gap that we had to bridge because people are acquainted with barbecue as tandoor. So the biggest gap that we had to sort of fill was Barbecue Nation, something that classifies as barbecue in India. So we had to sort of change that perception. So that was a very big challenge to sort of fill and educate people what American barbecue is all about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what are some signature dish or beverages that defines our brand?
So the pork belly burntans that we do, that's been a cut classic at Border Bean Barbecue since day one. So these are little bits of our pork belly, which are tossed in the maple honey glaze that I spoke about. So these are smoked, they are crisped up, and then they're tossed in the glaze. So they are one of them. Then we've got these pork ribs that we do. So these pork ribs are absolutely fall off the bone. They're really nice and tender. They're so juicy. So we offer them in 3 different other glazes. Apart from the maple honey glaze, we've got a herb butter, which is more European. We've got a Filipino adobo. That's a new barbecue sauce that we've sort of brought into picture. It's a Filipino barbecue sauce. And we've got gochujang as well. So that's a Korean spicy marinade that is sort of incorporated in the ribs as well. And the most important thing is the brisket that we do. So it's we've got a barbecue dry rub American style that sort of brings it together after cooking it low and slow for 12 hours in our smoker. And the result that we get in the end, especially how we are presenting it, I think that's really wowed people as well.
Okay, love it. So, you have also mentioned the beverages, but we will have beverages in the original outlet in Bandra.
So we did coolers over there that were sort of made with fresh juices. So we had like a watermelon strawberry margarita. We had a smoked pineapple lemonade. We were doing a spiced green mango lemonade. So
The reason you chose this flavors as this go well with the biscuits and the beefs and smoked.
yeah, so fruity, fresh flavors always sort of go well with meats because they're very heavy. You need something light to accompany it. And over here at Lower Parel, we're doing really nice fresh soju cocktails. So soju is an Korean liquor that's similar on the lines of vodka, but it's a lot lighter. So we're doing cocktails with that, and they're really inspired, and nobody else is doing soju cocktails in Mumbai.
Okay. So, coming to the cultural part, hospitality is all about people.
Yeah.
And what is hospitality to you? And what qualities do you look for and hiring for the team you're building?
Well, me being in hospitality for so long, when you become a founder, it sort of changes its meaning as well to you because it becomes a lifestyle for you, and the people who you're working with, who you're spending so much time with, they are your second family. So how you are sort of building relationships with your guests, you're building relationships with your staff as well. So you want to sort of keep them, you want to understand their problems, you want to sort of solve your day-to-day issues because it just sort of creates this understanding between you and the staff. So that's the only sort of way you're able to sort of create and maintain that relationship and have that staff member stick with you for a longer time. So that's sort of the key, I feel.
Okay. And how do you look for qualities in the staff? Like while you're building a team,
Yeah.
some student is learning from you. And if they are looking forward to work with you, what qualities do you look for that he will get an idea that, okay, I have to do like this?
So you have to be like a sponge when you start off. You have to sort of get your hands dirty. You have to be willing to try new things. You can't say no to anything at the beginning of your career. That's the only way you're going to learn. It's been such a long journey for me and I'm still learning. Every day is a learning day for me. So that's something that people need to understand in India. As a student from the hospitality background in India, people sort of look down on certain jobs. Like, अगर किसी को बर्तन करने बोल दिया, so they're like, this is not something that I'll do. It's beneath me. It's really not the case because, especially in a city like Sydney, you're standing right next to your dishwasher, you're working with him over there. There were times when, I had to sort of jump in the dish pit over there, and I was sort of doing my dishes right next to my head chef. So it's like a life-changing event. And like an entrepreneur, you have to be a handyman, you have to be an electrician, you have to be a plumber at times. You'll be putting your hands in drains because at the end, you are supposed to run this business by anyhow. There'll be times when your staff leaves, you'll be there stuck by yourself, but you have to sort of get through the day. It's a day-to-day business, like I tell people all the time. It's a long, hard, grueling job. You have to spend hours, and the thing is, the biggest support you would sort of get in a situation like this is your family. They sort of stick by you, and that's the only reason I decided to make the transition from Australia to India as well. I had a brilliant job over there, but then I was a family man. I had to sort of come back for them over here.
Okay. So for the audience watching now,
Yeah.
what is the reality of visiting a restaurant and running a restaurant by yourself?
Yeah, people think about running a restaurant as a very glamorous business. They see all these stars opening businesses, running them, having so many restaurants behind their name. They're not the ones running the restaurants. They're just the face. When you are at the restaurant running a business yourself, you have to go through hell and back every day. Every day there's a new challenge waiting for you. You don't know what's going to come your way, all the way from your suppliers to sort of not providing you things on time, to sort of having your marketing people be in line, to your staff not showing up certain times, because there's issues, and it's human resource at the end of the day. You don't know what's going on in other people's mind. All you know is, you're going to take sort of ownership for your work. You're going to be professional, and you're going to be the best. You're going to be the best version of yourself every day and present yourself as that version in front of your staff. And, it's just about consistency, this business. The more consistent you are, the more it will show in your job, the more it will show in the dishes that are sort of being served to the guests. And this passion, it just sort of comes with time. You don't sort of get it overnight. You're not born with it. It's something that you have to develop over time. And I think it'll be very sort of heartwarming for me to sort of teach people, because that's something that I have been going through all my life, and that's what I did back in Sydney as well. You just sort of learn and learn and learn every day, and that's the only way you sort of are going to sort of stick by and run this business properly.
Okay. About any kind of relationships have you built with your long-term guests or your regulars? Any story you have to share?
Mm,
Do you have a story of the first customer that came to be a bit bad, or any foreigner or any renowned chefs? Please liberty.
So I don't have any stories per se, but then it's very heartwarming when you sort of see a customer sort of coming. Yeah.
Say guest, not customers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd like to thank Indian Hospitality Magazine to cover Body Bean Barbecue. And my message to anybody who's willing to join the industry is, it's going to be a long, grueling, hard industry to sort of be a part of. But you need to be very open and welcoming to all the changes that come along. You want to sort of learn every day of your life and understand that, you have the support that helped you build it in the first place. Always sort of have enough experience to sort of dive into something that you're trying to create as a brand. Do your research. You have to have a really good concept, because that's something that will stand out, and people will remember it as much as they can.
And you will do it with the magazine and your message for the younger generation about the hospital.
Yeah.
Okay. And ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank the Indian Hospitality Magazine to give us this opportunity to present Body Bean Barbecue as a part of students' curriculum and helping them learn and grow and keep the restaurants as an option for their careers to sort of help and develop in the future.
Actually, we went off it, OP, but you wanted your, like, we will be keeping you as a role model.
Okay.
So, what is your message to the students?
Yeah.
So, before the interview starts, I wanted to understand a brief about the brand. Okay. What is Border Bean Barbecue?
So Border Bean Barbecue is predominantly an American barbecue place, and we are known for our smoked meats. So the pork, the beef that we cook over here, well as buffalo meat, we cook it low and slow on wood fire, and we cook it for hours. Like the buffalo meat that we cook, we've got this cut called brisket that we cook for 12 hours. So from start to finish, how we're sort of doing dry rub on it, how it sort of is keep marinating overnight, and then we're cooking from hours from start to finish. So it sort of tells a story. It's a whole process that we sort of go through. And the result that you get in the end, it's absolutely sort of soft, delicious, and something new that the Indian audience hasn't seen for a very long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your name, the brand's name, where is it located?
Yeah.
And one line of message. What is it about? Okay, it's just a start.
Now?
Yeah, with more energy, okay?
Yeah. Hi guys, my name is Shantanu Jagtap. I'm the founder at Border Bean Barbecue, Lower Parel. We're all about American barbecue over here. We're smoking meats low and slow. So we invite you all to come and join us.
Perfect. It was
So it's very heartwarming when a guest sort of enters the restaurant and they tell you that, you know, they've been to your old place. They've been with you since the time you didn't have a roof over your head. And they sort of stuck by you. I still have a few guests who sort of order the same thing, you know, in spite of us adding several different things to the menu. They'll just sort of order the pork belly, their ribs, their brisket, because that's something that is never going off the menu over here, in spite of us adding so many other options, because it just sort of stays with them and they sort of understand the sentiment and feeling that goes behind, you know, creating that, and them being such a big part of it, because those guests, when they come back, they sort of bring so many other people along with them. So it adds value to you, it adds value to your restaurant as well. So I really appreciate these people sort of sticking by us, you know, through thick and thin, and they've always come in numbers and supported us everywhere we've gone.
good. So where do you see this brand in the next 5 years? Is it franchising, or is it expansion, or is it evolving the concept?
So I feel I'm more invested in evolving the concept, because we've taken this leap of opening a restaurant in Mumbai, and we've already come a long way from a 15-seater restaurant to a 50-seater restaurant. So that's a big leap that we have taken at the moment. So we're sort of taking things slow. We want to sort of evolve the concept. We want to make this place better, and we want to see how that plays, because we want to be in the business for the long run. So obviously, I would love to open another outlet, and I would love to open another outlet in Bandra itself, because that's where our roots are as a brand. So that's always on the lines, but just perfecting the product that we've got over here, since it's been a little less than a year since we've been here. We've just been behind, you know, perfecting what we have created over here in terms of beverages, in terms of food that we have got, because we've got newer options and we're always trying new things out, you know, depending on the feedback, because feedback is so important. So just growing and, you know, just offering new things for people to try from however or whatever ingredients that we can sort of curate is sort of the goal at the moment.
Okay. So if you had to describe the soul of a restaurant in just one line,
Yeah.
what it is? Soul.
Um,
So say it in a way, the soul of the restaurant, the soul of Border Bean Barbecue would be. Do you have any tagline?
Like I can see this one, barbecue has no borders.
yeah,
Is this the soul of the restaurant?
yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. You can say it in a way.
Yeah. The soul of the restaurant is barbecue has no borders.
Like, can you brief more about it? Like, as a small segment.
Very interrupt, but
Yeah.
sorry, आप offend here.
You did.
Okay. The soul of the restaurant is sorry. Okay. The soul of the restaurant is barbecue has no borders. So how it transcribes in our menu in terms of us adapting to different flavors from different cuisines, just to sort of bring together the barbecue that we are presenting. That's something that we want to sort of inculcate and grow as we go forward.
Perfect. So now we'll do the ending part, which is the credit part.
So I've been a chef 10 plus years, and I was in Australia for a good 7 years of that. So obviously I've got like a hospitality background in India where I studied from IHM Aurangabad, and then I worked at a couple of hotels over here. And then I figured, I wanted to sort of get some experience abroad and learn a little bit more about the trade. So I'd gone to Australia. I was in Sydney for a good 7 years. I studied at Le Cordon Bleu, Australia, and I worked at quite a few good restaurants over there, where I literally started my journey as a chef, and I learned about the craft from really good chefs that had sort of spent good time in the industry over there. So the kind of exposure that you get abroad, it just sort of changes your perspective towards cooking, because it is very work oriented. Everybody is so professional over there. They're very eager to teach you, and they'll give you as much responsibility as you want, as much as you can take over there. So right from the beginning, I sort of worked at a really good Spanish restaurant. Then I worked at a Mediterranean restaurant, and then I was working at an Australian restaurant for a very long time before I came to India. So I basically had Chef Simon as my mentor over there. So he was one of my very big inspirations and has been throughout my life. And I've learned every bit of management, every bit of cooking that I know and I practice over here from him. So he's been kind of a role model for me. And I worked with lots of meats over there, and I sort of had like a knack to cook them right, in spite of, me being from India. Sort of, I had like a very big inclination towards cooking meats. So that's where the whole working with meats concept came from. I wanted to bring that in India, the slow cooking meats, because people are used to, cooking meats on coals over here in terms of tandoor as well. So that barbecue concept, that was missing. So I sort of made this trip from Sydney to India, and me, after coming back over here, I had a bit of a sabbatical. So I worked on this really cool American offset smoker that I had to design from scratch, because nobody was building smokers in India when I decided to sort of come back over here. And that whole transition sort of made me even more focused and determined to open this place over here. I knew something has to sort of be done about, cooking meats over here. So me, along with my wife, we sort of came together, and we built this concept. So it was all on papers, and it only materialized probably a year later after me spending time in Mumbai. So we started Border Bean Barbecue in Bandra on September 2022.
Okay. You're very conscious about the camera, right?
I am here.
Where you are.
Yeah, फिर यहाँ पे लोग